भगवते वासुदेवाय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. We thank all the devotees for joining the second day session of Bharata Maharaja's 3 lives. It's called Upakhyani, the message or the lesson from 3 lives of this great king Bharata. So yesterday we saw how this king was attracted, Bharata Maharaja was attracted to deer. The most amazing thing is he could detach from his family, money, power, kingdom. He could detach from everything which are much more significant, but strangely got attached to a small deer. So here Vyasadeva is saying his karma played a very big role, otherwise it is not possible. In the same way, we can see many great personalities who would have crossed tough challenges will fall prey for some very insignificant things. That is why a spiritualist life is like walking on a razor. Prabhupada mentioned this many times, especially to his sannyasi disciples. Prabhupada said, it is like walking on the razor, walking on the blade. Anytime, dangers can happen. Padam yat vipadam. Anytime vipat, that means the accidents can happen. And sometimes we may be very careful about larger picture, about big things in life, and we will take tiny things for granted. And sometimes those tiny things which we have neglected will turn into dangerous ones. So here Bharata Maharaja, that is Parikshit Maharaj's question. How Bharata, who could overcome his family, his children, property, kingdom, everything, but got attracted to the deer. And at least some, 10 shlokas, it is explaining how Bharata Maharaja was lamenting for the deer. Every day while doing his meditation and worship and sadhana, he used to pat that deer, he used to cuddle them. And while going to jungle to collect all that materials, he will take the deer with him. And this was going on, and unknowingly, gradually his consciousness got filled with deer. Pura consciousness became like deer conscious, slowly, gradually, steadily, even without his knowledge. Then one day, all of a sudden he could not see the deer. And he was searching, and he was, his mind was completely wandering around the deer. On that day, he became very restless. See, this is what is attachment. And once Prabhupada, in a conversation, he said that attachment to the grandchildren in old age will be much, much more severe than the sons. We will be naturally attached to our grandchildren more than our own children. So, in old age, that is another challenge for a living entity to completely focus on Krishna. So here, Bharata was not so attached to his children, but he was so attached to the deer. And that particular day, somehow he could not see the deer. And that day he became so restless, he was not able to continue his spiritual practice. His mind was like wandering, searching for the deer, and he became very restless, and he was like almost about to leave his practice and go and search for the deer. And mind was thinking, what if some wild animals would have attacked? In the jungle, some deadly animals would have pounded on the deer, and the deer is such a tender one, and he can't defend himself. Or what if he was carried away by the river? Or what if he got trapped in a storm or something? The mind was going on thinking. Attachment. I will give you a crude example which may not be suitable to speak about this in public, but still for a better understanding how attachment is so severe. We know Vilvamangal Thakur, the great saint. He was attached to that lady called Chintamani. There is a particular incident in Vilvamangal Thakur's life that his father passed away, and Vilvamangal Thakur's father's body is kept. And that was a heavy rainy day with storm and thunder. He could not take his body and do the final rites. It was pouring that day. It was like a heavy torrential rain. So people also hesitated to do the final rites for Vilvamangal Thakur's body. Father passed away and father's body is kept in the house, and he went in search of that lady. What a severe attachment. What a deadly attachment Vilvamangal Thakur would have got. And don't think this is just Purana and this won't happen. Amazingly, I just had a chance to go through the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know, many of you would have realized if you would have gone through that book. Mahatma Gandhi got married at a very young age, and his wife was just 11 or 12-year-old girl, Kasturi Bai, if I'm not wrong. Or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong with the names. She was very young girl, very 11 or 12, his wife. And in that autobiography, Gandhiji is writing, his mother is on the deathbed. And she is, she's breathing her last. But Gandhiji took his wife to a separate room. I'm not getting into the details. You can understand or you can refer that book. And at that time, Gandhiji's mother left her body, and he carried that guilt for a very long time. So this is not just Puranic story. This kind of attachment, just don't think it happens, it doesn't happen with me. We are all human. And this is very natural. To get attached to anything material in this life is very natural, very natural. And Prahlad Maharaj gives the example of scratching when you have an itch or kind of a wound, we have the tendency to keep scratching. It is exactly like that. The more you pay attention to that kind of craving, it will crave more. So the attachment was so deep of Vilvamangal Thakur, who left his dead father and went in search of Chintamani, where Mahatma Gandhi, almost a similar thing. So his attachment was very deep to the deer. And that day he could not peacefully continue his spiritual practice, and his whole mind was wandering around the deer. And whole day he was thinking about the deer, and Bhagavatam says the sun has rose. There was a moonrise. It became evening. Then he went to sleep. Then Bharata Maharaja could not rest properly because his mind was so disturbed by the deer. He couldn't see the deer, locate the deer that particular day. And in the late night, he went in search of the deer. And Shukdev Maharaj is explaining how grossly he would have been meditating about the deer. Because that day he is searching for deer, not like Goswami searching for Krishna. He was searching for deer. So full and full he was engrossed and meditating on the deer. And in the night, in the jungle, he tripped and he fell down. And that was a severe accident. And he was breathing his last. Bharata Maharaja was breathing his last. And again, material nature played another big trick. At that time when he was about to leave his body, this deer came and sat next to him. Simply, material nature played this game. Again, this baby deer from nowhere, it appeared and sat next to him. And he was thinking about the deer and left his body. Very this thing. So now, at which point of life we can say Bharata Maharaja went wrong? Because that was a natural compassion of a Vaishnava. When we see a baby deer or somebody struggling in this world, like yesterday, His Grace Rasamrita Prabhu asked that question. It is a natural, genuine human feeling that we feel compassionate when we see others, our fellow God brothers or fellow brothers and sisters suffer in this world. It is a natural feeling. I still remember in our younger days when we were like, traveling on the highway or something. Sometimes the vehicle will hit, in those days, goats and chicken. And suppose you see, this happens quite normal in India. Sometimes a dog will run inside, in between the road, and the vehicle will hit. Spontaneously, we will feel like that. We feel that, we feel that pain. We will know what kind of pain that animal is going to face. It is a natural feeling. So, Bharata Maharaj had a natural compassion. Then where did he go wrong? Very difficult to pinpoint where did he went wrong. Because, again Acharyas are explaining, right and wrong is relative in this material world. There is nothing called perfectly right and perfectly wrong. Whatever is today's right will become wrong tomorrow. When the sparrow is alive, when the bird is alive, she will eat the ants, she will feed on the ants, she will kill the ants and insects and she will eat. And when the bird dies, the ants and insects will eat the bird. So we can never say who is right and who is wrong. A beautiful story, example given by Ashtavakra Muni about what is right and what is wrong. So 4 men went inside a jungle one day to collect some fruits and woods. 4 men went to jungle and suddenly they heard a roaring sound from the bushes. Immediately 2 of them ran away. 2 of them ran away and the 2 guys, they didn't run, they stood. But afterwards they found out it was nothing, some kind of a reptile's mood or some wind. That's why there was a noise from the bush. So the 2 men who stood were commenting on the 2 men who ran. They said, you were so scared, which means you did something wrong. You were so scared. You were wrong. There was nothing in the bush. On the other hand, 2 men ran away, 2 stayed back, and a tiger came out of the bush and ate the 2. So the 2 men who ran away, they felt they were right and the men who stayed were wrong. I don't know whether I explained this example properly.